Hey guys, it's Waifugate again. So this is the Ikoria Set review. I know it's kind of late, but I kind of did this in chunks, like the set review, and a lot of them are really, really long. They're like 30 to 40 minutes. I did one video, the first one was blue-white, that was like an hour and a half. I just figure like people don't want to watch that, like, you know, sit down and watch a really long video. They'd rather do like 20 minutes, 30-minute videos. So that's what I'm trying to do with the set review. Next set, it'll be a lot smoother since I know what I want out of this one. And I'll probably pop them all off at once next time as well, but they'll be in shorter chunks. But yeah, it'll be part of the playlist. So like if you missed the other parts, you simply click back, just click on the playlist. You'll be able to find all of them. And it's also where you can find the next few set reviews, the ones that are going to be coming out. So these are being put out like once a week. So I think that this one is going to be on red. And then the next one, like we just go right in order from left to right on the spoilers. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And I'll see you guys soon for the next video. We are now in red. Prime that. So we get the first planeswalker here, Luca, Coppercoat, Outcast. So exile the top 3 cards of your library. Creature cards exiled this way gain. You may cast this card from exile as long as you control a Luca planeswalker. Sorry that I have to zoom in. My webcam's kind of blocking this. Do this real quick. Exile target creature you control, then reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card with higher converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom in a random order. -7. Each creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. Okay. So this being said, this is insane for draft, right? Like 5 mana, creature advantage, card advantage, etc. It's just crazy, right? And then it's -7 can just win you the game. The -2 is pretty niche, but it seems okay. It's definitely a bomb. It's definitely good. So in limited, it's definitely competitive. In standard, I could probably see it being ran here and there. 5 mana goes up to 6. I mean, we see Nissa do that, right? And she's okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're on the same power level. We'd have to see how the it could be really nasty in like rule or something too. Like it could be pretty crazy. Oh yeah, fires. That's a good one. Dang, I agree with that. It could potentially be good in fires because you get multiple things to craft. Tap. Yeah, you draw 6 extra cards. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, because you get the +1 first and then your next turn. Yep. As long as you get to actually grab them. That being said, well, it might not necessarily be bad with fires because you would just get a lot of fodder. Like I could see it be okay and being okay in fires. But yeah, anyways, trying not to take too much time on one card. It's definitely going to be, it'll probably find a home in standard. I would say that it's like competitive, almost dipping back down into niche. Like might not quite be enough by itself to be competitive, but maybe someone out there with a galaxy brain can figure it out. Like to find the perfect home for him. And then in limited, it's just crazy. It's just brain dead. You just grab him every time. Like he's definitely crazy. He's good. So let's go Everquill Phoenix for 4 mana. 4 mana mutate as well. Phoenix. Flying. Whenever this creature mutates, create a red artifact token named Feather with 1 sacrifice feather. Return target Phoenix card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. No, it's back. It's a little different though. A little different. So I'd say this is definitely competitive in draft for sure. Like it's a 4/4 flyer for 4. It's fine. On top of that, if you mutate it to something, it gets flying. And it could get a 4/4 body. on top of another effect where, like, you know, you could draw a card when it swings in or something. It could be pretty crazy, you know? So I'd definitely say this is competitive there in draft. In standard, I'm not so sure. Like, cards have to be really, really good for standard nowadays. So 4 mana for a 4/4 flyer is okay, but it doesn't have haste. You have to compare this to like Phoenix of Ash, for example. Just seems a little weird. It does have some recursion though. It's kind of nice. So I'd say like niche in standard, competitive, and draft. Mythos of Vadrak, 4 mana. It deals 5 damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers. If Jeskai colors were spent to cast the spell, until your next turn those permanents can't attack or block, and their activated abilities cannot be activated. That's pretty neat. For 4 mana sorcery though, it feels a little slow for standard. Like, someone's probably just gonna, like, you know, boop it with a negate or something or whatever else. Like, Flash isn't gonna let you do it. Aside from that though, it could cover a lot of holes that Jeskai might be struggling with a little bit. So I'd say that it's like niche, probably trash, but a little bit maybe niche. Like, I don't know. I mean, it does definitely help against the Super Friends list, like maybe Esper Walkers, but a lot of people consider that deck dead anyway, so I don't know. This doesn't seem very exciting. And in draft, it's going to be hard to go triple colors for the most part, but being able to deal 5 damage divided as you choose is still pretty good for 4 mana, so in draft, I'd say that it's still okay removal. It can deal 5 mana, like 5 damage to something. Like, we played the other deal 5 damage to something for 5 mana in Eldraine, and it was fine. Unpredictable Cyclone, 5 mana. If a cycling ability of another non-land card would cause you to draw a card, instead exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a card that shares a card type with the cycled card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then put the exiled cards that weren't cast this way on the bottom of your library in a random order for 5. 2 cycling. This thing is Galaxy Brain. It's crazy. Could be awesome. I would say in limited, it's definitely niche / like it could be really good. If anything, you can cycle this for 2, right? And then just keep drawing. If you need like a land drop early, it's not going to kill you. You can definitely do it. And then late game, that could just win you the game because, like, you could just cycle for a bigger creature or a different enchantment spell, etc. Like, you can fish for things that could become a toolbox thing. In standard, it could definitely be niche. Like, I'm sure Ali Eldrazi can probably brew around this, so, you know, it could be really, really good. Ydrardo, Wandering Monster for 7 mana, 5/6/7, 8/8, Trample Haste. Oof, cycling for 2. Ooh, so this thing's a bomb in limited already, like without even reading the other text. This is probably fine. It's a lot of mana, but like it could just come down and end the game, like if your opponent had tapped out. So you just come in with a giant dinosaur turtle. Seems good. So limited, definitely a bomb. Competitive even. So let's read the cycling part too. When you cycle the Wandering Monster, shuffle it into your library from your graveyard. If you've cycled a card named Ydrardo Wandering Monster 4 or more times this game, put it onto the battlefield from your graveyard instead. Oh, I remember reading this card too. So even in standard, this could be pretty interesting. Like, I kind of like it. Do you still get to draw the card with the cycling here? Is there just too much text here that they didn't want to put that? Like, when you cycle a card, you still discard and draw? I think that's the case, right? Goes good with the previous card, yeah. It really does. If it's your only cycling creature card, you just pick it up. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I like him. In standard, I can see it being niche. It might be a little too slow for standard, but it might also be interesting. Blitz of the Thunder Raptor. 2 mana. Instant. It deals damage to target creature or planeswalker equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. If it would die this turn, exile it instead. It's kind of weird. It's niche, I'd say, for both. It could be okay removal depending on how many instances. You don't want to draw it first though, so it's kind of weird. You don't want to draw it too late because then it won't be able to remove the big thing if you don't have a lot of instances, so I'd say just niche in both. Clash of the Titans 5. Target creature fights another target creature. For 5 mana, I guess it is instant. I'd say in limited this is pretty competitive. Like you take this as removal for sure, probably. In standard, I probably wouldn't see it ever played, ever cast, unless I'm playing against like a starter deck or something. I don't think it's that great. Flame Spill, 3 mana. Deals 4 damage to target creature. Excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller, so it has trample. That's pretty neat. I like this a lot. This is definitely competitive in limited. Definitely one of the better, like the best red removal spell I've seen so far in this set. Mind you, I haven't like looked ahead or anything. I haven't like looked at the spoilers as they came out. I'm doing this all on the fly. So I'd say for standard, it could maybe find a place in red, depending on like, you know, might be in sideboard or something to push through damage. So could be seen in standard. I would say it's niche maybe, but definitely good in draft. Footfall Crater, 1 mana. Enchantland. Enchantland has tap, target creature gains trample and haste until end of turn. Tap 1 for cycling. I mean, I would say in limited it's kind of niche. Like if you need a way to punch through damage and you have a lot of big green creatures maybe, and you want trample and haste, seems kind of cool. It could be good. Cycling for 1 also makes it pretty desirable. Like if you need actual land drops, it seems okay to just cycle that. You know, just to draw whatever you need. Also, like going back to the Cyclone, it could be interesting to grab another aura or something. So Frill Scare Mentor. So it's standard, I don't think so. Probably not. We'd rather just run the land that gives us haste or gives us damage or whatever else, you know. Like maybe not the same thing, but you know what I mean. Like I don't really want to be taking turns off as a red deck to do this for the most part. Frill Scare Mentor, 3 mana. When it enters the battlefield, put a I read this as a meme counter on target non-human creature you control. I just skipped right to meme. It put a 1/1 counter on each creature with menace. So we have one of these for each category. This one is 3 mana. It's a 3/2. I think the other ones have been like 1/3 here and there, I think, or 2/3. This one has 3/2 because it's aggressive, it's red. I'd say that it's pretty niche. You have to have a non-human anyway by the time you develop this, which is possible. But if you're only 2-drop as a human, it's kind of garbo. So it is what it is. I would say that it's niche / competitive in draft because you can build around this. And then in standard, it's probably too slow. Probably trash tiers. Monument Rumbler, 4 mana. Whenever it attacks, if it doesn't have first strike, put a first strike counter on it. Whenever it attacks, if it has first strike, it gains double strike until end of turn. Oof. And how's it going, Loco Says? How are you doing, man? I would say in draft, this thing seems pretty good. 4 mana for a 3/3 first striker. It's also a dinosaur, so you can mutate onto this, which is pretty crazy. So anything that you go to put on top of this just gets double strike eventually, if it goes unchecked. And if you can protect this in like red-white with the first whatever, like the thing that gives non-human indestructibility, it could be really cool. So I like it. I like it as a card. I'd say that in draft it's a bomb. It's very competitive. And then in standard, I don't know, probably not. 4 mana for a 3/3 that can just get answered. If it goes unanswered, it's kind of okay, but I don't know if it's good enough for standard. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. A Porcuparrot. That was pretty good. That's probably how it's supposed to be pronounced. I just had to digest the word for a moment. So Bird Beast, mutate for 3. If you cast this for, if this creature deals X damage to any target where X is the number of times this card is mutated. That's pretty crazy. That's a way to end the game, I guess, if they just allow you to mutate something, or if you can protect it. I'd say like it's okay. Even at 3/4 for a body and limited, it's okay. I'd say that it's like mediocre. Like it's in between niche and competitive, like in that gray line where it's just like if you need something, you need something. And then in standard, I don't see it seeing a lot of play. It's just slow. Feels like you can make really wonky combo decks with anything, but I don't know. Sanctuary Smasher, 6 mana. First strike, cycling for 3. 6/4 first striker for 6 mana. So in draft, that already seems like okay. The Rhino Beast too, so you can mutate onto it. It's a beast. When you cycle it, put a first strike counter on target creature you control. So it seems pretty good. I would say in draft, it's definitely competitive. It's not terrible. Because late game, you draw into it, it's a beast, literally. And then early game, if you draw into it, it makes something else have first strike, which is okay. And it draws you a card. Doing pretty good, Danny T. How are you doing, man? How have your streams been, dude? Am I hyped? I am, dude. I saw the white mythos, and I'm really excited about that. I don't know how I'm gonna brew that, but it seems like fun. Reptilian Reflection. So this in standard probably isn't gonna see play. We're doing a bit of a review here. Reptilian Reflection, 3 mana. When you cycle a card, you may have Reflection become a 5/4 dinosaur with trample and haste in addition to its other types until end of turn. Seems okay. Seems a little niche for draft. I'd say it's okay. Like, depends on how much cycling you can get. It's not terrible. In standard, I don't really see it. Like, maybe if it's so hard to like dictate or to like make a call on whether something is going to be good at in standard or not right now. You're hype about the Flash Shark? Yeah, the Flash Shark's pretty okay. I'm really hype about Mythos. And I'm just hyped about drafting, actually, thinking about stuff in a draft sense. I'm getting really locked into that. So yeah, probably niche for standard, niche for draft. More toward trash in standard, and more toward niche toward draft. Rooting Malak, 5 mana. 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, exile target card with a cycling ability from your graveyard. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. I like cycling a little bit. Like, it's cute. I think this guy's really good in draft. I think he's definitely competitive. He's just good. He's a lizard, so you can mutate onto him. You can cycle him, and when he enters the battlefield, you can get back one of your other cycling cards, like maybe the Rhino or something. You can get back whatever. It just seems really cool. Like, this guy seems really awesome. I'm not sure about standard, though. He seems a little too slow for that. But that just depends on what comes in favor and whatnot. Like, with due time. Weaponize the monsters. 1, tap 2, sacrifice a creature. Weaponize the monsters, deals 2 damage to any target. So this is just like a catapult for your dude bros. Well, I mean, it says weaponize the monsters, but it doesn't say sack a non-human creature. So, like, maybe what this is trying to tell us is that humans are monsters too. Maybe that's me trying to be a little too deep. That being said, I think it's sort of niche because it's like sacrifice a creature. Unless you have a lot of token production, this doesn't seem very good in limited. And in standard, it could be kind of okay, like Rakdos Sack, maybe another Sack engine. But you have so many of those with like Woe Strider and Priest of the Forgotten Priestess or whatever, Priest of the Forgotten, whatever you want to call her, that they probably don't need anymore. So I would say that it's niche in standard as well, if not trash. Blazing Volley deals 1 damage to each creature your opponent controls. This is interesting. It's definitely niche in standard. Like, it could be okay against mono red, but a lot of their creatures, like, as soon as they come in, they start tanking more. So, yeah. And in limited, I don't know. It'd probably be like a sideboard card, I guess. Like, it's probably trash in limited, though. Just not enough value for 1 mana. But I could be wrong. Gremlin, 1 mana. Deals 1 damage to each opponent. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, untap him. Ooh, so pretty interesting. I think in standard you can make a really crazy combo deck with this. So I'd say it's niche in standard. You could probably find a home for it. And then in limited, I could see it being okay. You could push through the last few points of damage that you need. But it seems a little niche for limited too. Like, if you can build around it, if it seems to work, it'll probably be fine. Carthetic Reunion, 2 mana. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard 2 cards, draw 3. Aw, that's pretty cute. I mean, it's interesting. It's filter. It could fill the graveyard for cycling, like for this guy, for the lizard. There's a lot of recursion with black. You could throw away like a few lower cost CMC cards, get them back with the new Menagerie type card. It's a reprint from Kaladesh. Gotcha. Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of like it. Niche counter 437. Yeah, pretty much. Cathartic reunion. There we go. Thank you, Hitten. I appreciate it. But yeah, it seems okay. I'd say that it's probably okay in draft, like niche-ish, but not really. Like if you need cycle, if you need to dig for stuff, if you have graveyard synergy or whatever, it could be okay. Other than that, I'm not too excited about it. It could be used for an engine for a standard deck as well. Niche there too. Cloud Piercer. Reach, 5/4 giraffe thing. Dinosaur. I think it's a giraffe. I need to judge. Mutate for 4. Reach, whenever this creature mutates, you may discard a card if you do draw a card. Seems okay. Seems good. Good filler for draft. Standard, probably not going to see the light of day. Seems like kind of okay. But I'm not sure if a 5 mana 5/4 is good enough, or a 4 mana mutate for reach is good enough. You do get to cycle as soon as it comes down, but that's about its only saving grace. So I don't know. Seems okay-ish. Feather better be human. Because I don't want people mutating Feather and just making it more obnoxious than it already is. Granith Stinger. Feather is an angel, son of a pog. We're doomed. We're all doomed. Whenever you cycle a card, it deals 1 damage to each opponent, cycling for 1. Yeah, angel, oh my god. That's gonna be so obnoxious. Because they gave Feather another tool too. I'll probably just run Feather tomorrow too. I'll see if I can make it work, see if it's okay. So 2 mana for 2. This seems okay. Competitive for draft for sure. It's just with an upside bear. Yeah, I think it's an angel. Whenever you cycle another card, deals 1 damage. Yeah, so it's just fine. Probably niche for standard because it might be a little too slow, but for draft it seems like kind of okay if you need filler. We're almost done with red. Ferocious Tigrilla. Or meta cat ape. When it enters the battlefield with your choice of trample counter or a menace counter. This is a really good basis for like a mutate potentially, because it can get whatever you want, and then whatever you mutate onto it, you can have it adapt that as well. So it's pretty cool. I'd say in limited it's pretty okay. Just giving this thing menace for 4/3 would be pretty good. And then on top of that, you can mutate on top of it to give it more effects. So it just seems nice. Because it gets the counter, and then you can mutate on top of it, and then it can get like reach, for example, and then take the 5/4 body, which might be better than the 4/3. But it is better, by the way. Spoiler alert. So I would say competitive for draft, and then niche for standard. Fire Prophecy, 2 mana. Deals 3 damage to target creature. You may put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library if you do draw a card. Oh, this is just great, dude. For limited, this is prime removal. This is just really nice. Like bat, deal 3 damage. Super awesome, and it cycles for you, like it filters. Something you don't want to draw. And then for standard, I could even see it being in play for standard potentially. Like niche a little bit, but it could be competitive as well. Strength of a gorilla, speed of a tiger, pretty scary, yeah. Forbidden Friendship, 2 mana. Create a 1/1 red dinosaur creature token with haste and a 1/1 white human creature token, soldier guy. Seems okay. For limited, the 1/1s don't really get you there sometimes. So what's interesting about this is I think you can mutate onto a token, can't you? Or can you? You mutate? Creature card. Creature you own, yeah. So this could be really good fodder for mutates. Seems okay. So I kind of like it. Like if you need more mutate fodder, it's definitely good for that, for limited. In standard, I'm not so sure. There might be better stuff just to cast. So standard, probably trash. Probably not going to see the light of day, but it might. And then for draft, it's definitely good for bases for mutate. It gives you at least one mutate token and then one human token, which, you know, if it says like, you know, put this on a human or whatever, it kind of gives you that sense, that option. Frenzied Raptor, 3 mana, 4/2. Garbage for standard. If you really need a creature for limited, it can be okay, especially since it's a dinosaur and you can mutate onto it. Not that I'm sure if you'd want to mutate onto this, it's kind of bad. Go for blood. 2 mana. Target creature you control fights another target creature you don't control, cycling for 1. Fucking great card for limited. Just insanely good. Definitely great. Competitive for sure. It's just removal. You have a creature, and then if you don't have a creature, you know what you can do. You can just cycle it, so it's kind of perfect, right? So definitely good for limited. Could probably see play in standard too, especially with red wanting interaction with creatures potentially. It's definitely good. Cool. It's for the draw combo. Yep. The one, and I think it's either black or blue, right? I think it's blue. Divination one, red, blue. Like the divination card is really good with that one. Heightened Reflexes, 1 mana. Target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Put a first strike counter on it. Oof. That's pretty good. That's a good combat trick. I'd say for limited it gets like a mediocre rating. Like it could be, it's like niche. For standard, I don't see it seeing much play. There's better options for combat tricks. Lava Serpent, 6 mana. Haste for 5. 6 for a 5/5 haste, and it has cycling. That's really good for limited, man. That's insane. Because you can also have the land that gives trample haste or whatever else too. Like there's ways to give it trample for sure. Definitely awesome. And it's an elemental serpent, so you can mutate onto it, which is cool. So like after it comes down with haste, you can mutate and make it stronger. Like give it flying maybe. The next turn, give it some other sense of evasion. Standard, probably not so much. We see the Monstrositar, the old one, getting some play. But other than that, like, you know, there hasn't been really a 5 and a 5/5 haste type dealio with trample or whatever else in a while. Prickly Marmoset. 3. This guy's face is way too much. I'm never going to be able to look at this card without laughing. Monkey First Strike. Whenever you cycle a card, Marmoset gets +2/+0 until end of turn. You know, baseline stats, it has First Strike. This thing's actually really good for limited, man. Look at that guy. He's going to intimidate your opponent with that face. Gonna question swinging into that for sure. I wonder if he has a cycle card. He probably does. So just 2/3 First Striker for 3 with an upside. I'd probably say it's pretty competitive for red. Would haunt my nightmare. Yeah, that's crazy. This has such a face to him, this guy. Standard, I'm not so sure about. It's going to be hard to tell how much synergy we can get away with cycling and whatnot in standards, so niche for standard for now. Pyroceratops, elemental dinosaur. Trample. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a 1/1 counter on it for 4 mana. I mean, it can get out of hand on top of this. This is probably one of the best, like, aside from its casting cost. Like, 4 CMC is pretty steep. Other than that, if it doesn't get removed, especially in limited, we're talking about limited for a second here, I would say this is a bomb because you can mutate on top of this and take the effect of trample on whenever you cast a non-creature spell and put better stats on it. Okay? Who is Waifu Kurusu? If you hit the follow button, you can hear her talk for a second. Not that I'm baiting you into that. But yeah, this is definitely a bomb in draft, I would say. Like, competitive for draft. In standard, it seems a little too susceptible to removal before it gets rolling, but it could still be okay. Like, it might be able to snowball out of control. So I'd say niche / trash for standard and competitive for draft for sure. Raking Claws, 2 mana. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Cycling for 2. Wow. This card's insane for limited. Like, you can just blow someone out with this. Like, just put it on anything that's, like, kind of high that's getting in. Any mutate creature makes a really good target for this. And if you don't have a creature, if you don't think you can get in, you can always cycle it, which is cool. So, I would say this is, like, competitive for draft. And then it could even be good for standard potentially. Like I remember what's his name? I can see his face, I can't think of his name. It's something Llama. I forget his name. How could I forget his name? The kid's a legend. He has a pretty good beard too. It's not rotating for a bit, Pacos. It's not rotating out. If you look at what's in standard.com, sorry, I'm getting a little distracted here, but you can figure out when stuff is going to rotate out. So yeah, definitely a decent card either way. Rumbling Rockslide, 4 mana, deals damage to target creature equal to the number of lands you control. Very niche, could be a really funny combo deck. I imagine like Ollie might brew around it or something, but overall kind of a niche card, no matter which way you dice it, limited or standard. Shredded Sails, 2 mana, destroy target artifact, deals 4 damage to target creature with flying, cycling for 2. So just fine, like it seems fine to put this into your deck main board or sideboard in draft. Sometimes people will do that, like people are putting like Return to Nature in their deck main board, but for a different reason for Eldraine. It just seems okay. It seems niche. There are probably better options. This could be an okay option for red deck wins if it really needs it, or mono red, I should say. And then the cycling part makes it way better. I guess you can just put it into your deck actually for limited because it has cycling. Like scratch that. It seems like a pretty good card for limited overall. If anything, you just draw a different card or it blows someone out. Spell Eater Wolverine, 3 mana. Has double stride as long as there are 3 or more instants and or sorceries in the graveyard for 3 mana. Seems a little niche, but like in draft you might get there here and there depending on what you draft for colors. There could be some like filling the graveyard synergy with black potentially, etc. Could be okay. If anything, it's a 3/2 with an upside. If you really need to fill your deck with creatures, it could be okay. I'd say it's like mediocre for draft, not really competitive, but that lining between niche and competitive. For standard, I don't know. Probably not. 3/2 double strike for 3 even might not even be that good, question mark. So Tentative Connection, 4 mana. That thing is huge. The spell costs 3 less to cast if you control a creature with menace. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. Why would you give Sakdos another active treason effect? That might be cheaper to cost. Might be cheaper to cast. What is English? For 100. So I would say for limited, this could be pretty okay. Like you can end up taking over the game with this, especially if you have some synergy for Menace. So could be okay for draft. I'd say primarily niche though. It depends on if you need removal or whatever else. Like if you need to fill a removal slot and you don't quite have it, this could be like something that could sway the game into your favor quite heavily, especially if you have a sack outlet, like red black maybe if you're drafting. And in standard, I don't think any of the creatures for Sakdos right now have menace, but that could change with some of the new mutates and whatnot. So we'll have to see what happens there. So niche for both, I think, for both standard and so yeah, like I said before, I'm going to try to get these a little bit shorter next time. This was the red section. We'll be doing, I think, green next, and that'll be out next week. So appreciate you guys chilling out and being awesome. If you have any questions, you can feel free to stop by my stream or simply drop them in the comment section down below. And I will see you guys next time.